for catching April spring crappie in the Ozarks. 3 different rod setups. This was the biggest one in the group. We watched him come up there and eat it just now. Oh, that right there never gets old. I'm going to share something with you today that's very specific to Table Rock Lake, and that is how to find some crappie in the springtime. And you can see here when you look at the whole lake, there's a lot of water there. There's a lot of area to cover. But if you'll break this down, this is the way I would treat it. Now, the lake's full of crappie all the way across it, but you've got Long Creek, Kings River, the White River, and the James. Those would be the 4 creeks that I would focus on. They're going to warm up quicker. You're going to have less area to try to find a crappie in, but you're going to have more structure. Play the numbers game, so to speak. Put everything in your side of the fence as far as having everything you need to find crappie, catch crappie, and narrow it down to get on them quicker. All right, now we've picked this out of creek arm. We're going to go put it in Cape Fair Boat Dock up the James River. And the reason we're going to do that is because this is where the river starts to pretty much narrow down. You can get up here above, and you've even got Flat Creek. It's going to split off. And this just gives us options. You can see we got a lot of turns and creek channels. We definitely have some standing timber. We've got a lot of brush piles from floods, pieces of structure, stumps, all kinds of stuff. And that's where we're going to do. What we'll do is we'll pull up. Let's just go back down here to Cape Fair. So we'll run up the river. We might stop here and kind of check this swing, idle along, either look with our scope. We're looking for standing timber. We're looking for anything a crappie can think about spawning on, as far as like staging the spawn or actually spawning on it. A lot of these fish will spawn on Table Rock Lake, on the trees themselves, on the limbs, over deep water. They just need a place big enough to spawn on with some eggs. And that's where some of your biggest fish will be. And I think the numbers are better up in the rivers here. And then, like, as the day goes on, it's going to be warm today. We're going to pick out an arm like this and start sneaking into it and trying to look for individual pole trees, things like that. So don't be afraid to kind of start out here this morning, maybe out on the main river, looking for a piece of structure, idling, using your electronics, and then drift into a cove later on in the day or a little creek arm to where a place for them to move or migrate, or the ones that's been in the creek arm to get more active as it warms up for the day. But if you'll narrow it down and pick out a river and then try to find some isolated pieces of cover, I think you'll find out in a day's time you'll have a nice mess of fish. So you can see we're getting ready to hit the road this morning. It's about daylight. We're going to get on the water, see if we can catch some crappie. But I got 3 setups here, and I want to tell you why I've got these 3. They're all 3 identical Denali 703 DR rods with the same Johnny Moore Signature Series reels. But you can see here I got 3 different baits and 3 different lines. The reason I do is because we want options. Right here on the first one, we've got the Sunline Osage. That is more of a floating braid. It's going to stay up in the water column a little bit better. We got a 7-pound Sunline FC leader on it with a bait head, the loop knot, and then a 2-inch minnow 1. So when we move over to like a winding head, we got the dock shooter. I like to throw it with winding. I got the new Swimmer 1 on here. But we've also got Sunline All Might. This is a sinking braid. It's 18 pounds. The diameter is super small. We can get away with a little bit heavier line. And then if we do want to catch something else that we see, we won't have to worry about our tackle not being heavy enough. But I like that when we're winding and it's more of a straight line to your bait. And then we got the big gun here on the end, the 2.75 minnow 1 on a 3/16 ounce head. Something we want to get down there faster if we run into any wind today, any current. But just trying to get on a fish that maybe are moving a little bit. But we've got the All Might sinking braid on it as well. Same setup, 7-pound FC leader on all these. I like to have different options, especially with my lines and everything, but I like to have the same rods and the same reels so it doesn't feel different when you pick up a different one. But have some options when you go out there and be ready for whatever you come across. I got a school of them right here. Look at here. There's a nice one. He liked her. Look at that. Pretty old fish. Ooh. That's the way you want to hook one right there. Right in the snoot. Look where that hook came out at. Right there. All right, this is what I'm talking about. One piece of structure. And look at these 3 or 4 crappie sitting here. They're probably just female staging and whatnot. But that's exactly what you're looking for. Just kind of going down the edge of the channel here. Let's see if we can catch one. Look at there. That's exactly it. Let's see what he is, too. It feels like a dirty good one. It is, too. Big old Magnum black. Come up here, old girl. Look at that. Now that is a specimen. Look at how healthy that fish looks. A 2-inch minnow one, and I mean a slab. But that is exactly as good as it gets. Found a piece of structure, caught a big one. So that's a great example of why we had different setups ready today, because these fish down here are going to take a different size, different weight than the ones up high. So I caught that fish the very first cast on the 16th ounce 2-inch minnow one, and you want to start with the fish at the top. That way you don't scare them from the bottom. So what we're going to do is try to pick these fish off kind of like a ladder. We're going to go down that tree, and the ones that are active, we're going to try and catch. If you catch one on the bottom first and bring him up through those fish, he explodes them all, and you kind of lose your opportunity to catch multiple fish. These old fish up here been messed with a bunch, because you get a tree like that a lot of places, by golly, they're ready to go. Ain't none of this. There, now that one hit it like he wanted it. I mean, it feels like a good one. It is too. You look here though, see how them fish are still sitting there? We didn't spook the whole flock of them off. Look at here, golly, that's a nice fish. He's even got him a stripe on the chin. Got him a little lipstick on there. Nice. Doesn't get any better than that right there. And we got them fired up for a second. Oh, now this one is a big one. This was the biggest one in the group, and we watched him come up there and eat it just now. And that is a good one. I mean, a good one. Get up in here, yeah. Look at that slab. Now that is a handful. That's what I'm talking about right there. That ain't nothing any prettier than that right there. And look how that bait head hooked him right where you want it. Pinned it against the roof of his mouth. You could hook them all like that, you'd never lose one. That right there never gets old. Like that dadgum big old crappie was out there. Big old minnow one's what he was after, and it's a full grown one. I mean, a full grown one. Yeah, boy, nice one. Now this is a little bit different. We've been catching a lot of black ones. This is a big old white one. So that's nice. I tell you what though, I think that Table Rock is probably one of the hardest lakes in the Ozarks, you know, to catch them on. And when we designed the minnow one, we spent a lot of time down here because of that. It's got cleaner water, it's got more pressure, it's got a lot of fish that are a bigger age class. They're wiser, so keep that in mind. If you come here, don't get discouraged. Just keep an open mind, keep moving around, get you a minnow one, catch some old biggins. So we left our main area up on that channel swing. We came to the other end of it. Then we noticed this boat dock over here as the swing came across the lake and went flat. Boat docks are great staging areas. No more got up there, seen 4 or 5 under the float, pitched up there with 275 minnow one. Got a big female. So these fish, I'm gonna say, are actually staging on this boat dock till they're ready to spawn, and they'll spawn behind us right here on this bank. It doesn't take a pretty gravelly bank or anything. As long as they've got a nice flat shelf, they'll get on there and spawn. Look at this. How about that for an old dock fish? Old dock fish. No big boy. I'm telling you right now, you can lay them on your arm like that, they're a good one. Gosh dang it. There, we got one come out there and commit. There we go. A pretty little old guy. Looky there. Looky there. Little old white female. Well, that's a wrap on today's river fishing adventure that we had. You know, we had a really fun time just finding structure. We've never been here since this spring started, so there was all kinds of new stuff. Ran the channel swings, ended the day on some boat docks, caught 2 or 3 on boat docks. There's a lot of fish starting to move up to stage. So, but we haven't really burnt but like couple gallons of gas. We didn't move around a lot today. We used the forward-facing sonar and found what we needed to on the Russell Marine Flex, and then took advantage of it as we can with our 3 setups from one standard and just picked them off as needed throughout the day. I hope you enjoyed it. If you like this, please subscribe and follow along, and thanks everybody for coming.